Good morning. Yep, it's officially winter here in Ohio. So it seems like every year, about November, December, it comes around. And I don't know, we're still like shocked and upset. Like, man, it's cold, snowy, and yet every year it comes. Like, I don't know why we're surprised, because there's been a history of it. It's not like, oh, that never happened before, because it has. So anyways, I like snow. I don't like working in it necessarily. I'll take that over rain, but I love snow. I like go out and enjoy the beauty and the bright white, clear, clean. I also like driving in it. I know that's the crazy one, but I like driving in it. Yeah, so today I got, I guess I'll be a shed hauler again. So I'm helping my friend out. He has a double white, and it's going to be set with a crane. And so I just came over and got his truck started up. The old Cummins over there just huffing it because it's cold. But yeah, it's a double white that he needed 2 trucks. So he asked me to drive his one truck so he can drive the other one. And I'm gonna go get it loaded up. He's got to take his kids to school yet, so he'll be behind me a little bit. But I gotta go get loaded up. Try to be there about 10:15. I believe the crane's gonna be there, so I didn't have to start early this morning. And that's the plan. So let's get to it. Well, we got it loaded. The remote for the trailer decided he don't want to work. So I had to do it manually, working right off the trailer. And it works. There's a little switch box down there at the bottom. It just means you can't stand back and see what you're doing. Ray, you're good on there. I'm gonna come over. Well, there it is. I see they have vinyl ceiling. There's the door. So we were not able to get it quite together because there was this clevis in the strap. So we got about a 2.5 inch gap. That day we'll have to push it together somehow. That one's still locked. That one's not working smoothly. A little bedroom. How about that kitchen though? So I didn't get your name, but the customer watches my videos, so congratulations, sir, on a beautiful house. All right, well, I thought that video is just too short. It's 10 minutes. This would be an opportunity again to talk about foundation. So this guy has a nice, complete, full basement foundation. We said it was a crane. But I've helped deliver too many of these tiny homes, way too many of them, that they just put them on block or, well, that's usually it, block. There's some of them that will put concrete pillars in the ground and then put a couple block on top of that. Maybe there's one builder that would sometimes have them put a 6x6 across. So instead of having block where every runner is, which is usually 4, just do like 3 block and then take a 6x6 on top of that and go across. The thing was that those have to be level so that they fit, you know, everything's nice and level and sits down on it. But there's different ways of doing it. I would, depending on what it is, like if it's a situation where you think it's going to be your house and it's going to be there for a long time, I would put an actual concrete block, like I hire somebody to actually put a concrete wall. It could be just like a crawl space, but then you have to figure out how to get it on. You might have to get a crane, and all this stuff costs money. I get that. That's what people are doing. They're trying to save money, I'm assuming. But what bothers me is seeing them spend $60,000 on a tiny house and then putting on block, and you know it's going to settle, and you know it's going to get out of level, and then you know the door's not going to work right, and then they're going to complain about the door not working right. Probably. I mean, I would. Why wouldn't you? So probably one of the worst ones I've seen is just out in the woods, and it was muddy, wet that day, and customer's not there. There's not enough block to properly block it, and it's not leveled up. They dumped a little bit of very tiny like pea gravel or something down, but yet one spot is like 3 inches lower, and it's wet, muddy, and you put a block in there and it's just gonna sink down. And if the customer's not there and there's not enough block, we're just gonna block it and leave. Like, what are we supposed to do? Now I don't know if I was the builder, and if the people don't put a foundation down, then it's on them. It's no big deal. But if I'm doing rent to own and I'm the rent to own company, I don't know if they're doing rent to own these tiny houses, but I'm gonna say this: if you rent to own guys are out there, if I was the rent to own company doing rent to own on tiny houses, I would stick my nose into what kind of foundation it is, because you're buying that house from the builder, and the customer is not putting it on a good foundation that's going to cause it to twist and warp or cause problems. Just saying, I would want to know. I'm just putting that out there. But, marriage, business, life, doesn't matter what it is. You don't have a good foundation, it's just not going to hold up. That's just the reality. So on blocking, there's something called, what is it called? I'll have to find it and put a link in the description, because I used them. They might be called trailer mats or something like that, because they're meant for a trailer house, and they're these plastic pads that are probably 2 foot by 2 foot that are meant to be put down on the ground. But again, if you're talking about let's say 16 by 40 or 14 by 40 tiny house, finished out, that's a lot of weight. Like, I moved sheds that are 10 by 20, put on one little 3-inch by 18-inch block in the yard, and that block has gone down so far over the years that the runner's now down in the ground. Don't tell me a tiny home with all that weight isn't going to push down. It will. If you got plumbing hooked up to it and stuff, what's going to happen to that stuff, right? That's actually a good thought. Plumbing. You got plumbing hooked up to it. So, if I would go the cheap route, I really would want to get somebody who is good, not an idiot, not your idiot brother-in-law's cousins, nephews, uncles, Joey. I don't know, Joey, sorry, I had to come up with some name. Somebody who's good, and, let's say you would, it's a 14 by 40 building. Go and dig a trench 2 feet down, 14 feet long. Like, if the building is going this way, right, the house, then you could go this way. Every 8 feet, put concrete down in the ground level, so that, because depending on how the delivery is going to be, you might have to be able to drive over it. So you kind of have to work that out with the builder and figure out how the delivery part's going to go. But if you would have concrete slab 2 feet wide, going 14 feet across, and it's level. If it's perfectly level, it's very easy to put block on top of that. Now, when it comes to block, the delivery person shouldn't know this, but if you're going 2, 3, or 4 block high, you need to put not just block on top of it like this, like just go up top. You need to, at least in the corners and probably in the rows on the outside, double them up. So you have instead of just on top of each other, put them beside each other. So you have 2 blocks beside each other, and then 2 on top of that. I don't know how this is going to work. But basically, you put 2 beside each other, so you create this square big block. And then you put 2 the other direction on top of that, and it ties them together. So, because what happens is, I've seen it. I had to put one back on the block after it blew over, because you had 3 or 4 block. I think it was only 3 block high. But it's just a regular 8-inch center block on top of each other. And theirs are just narrow. And then the wind came and it just pushed it over. So, you need solid block, and that's from what I've seen with all of these tiny homes and stuff, like the big cabins typically have a basement or something, but the tiny homes, I've seen it over and over and over so many times. They do not have a good foundation. I know later this week, me and the guy here, Help Henry, we're going to PA. There's some kind of stingy situation over there, something that he delivered, and we're having to pick it up. And they're going to back a house trailer under it and then block the house trailer up. So, I don't know. I don't know who's paying for it. It just makes me wonder, was it once again a customer that just wasn't prepared, don't really know, and sometimes it can be the salesperson. I don't really blame the builder. I just know some salespeople. That's as far as I'm taking that, who do not give a snot except making commission, and that's not good. And but then again, I don't expect the salespeople to be expert, and I don't expect the customer to be the expert. But if you're the customer, just talk to somebody and figure out a way to get a good foundation. You need a solid foundation. Once you got plumbing hooked up to that thing, your toilet pipe and stuff, you don't want that building settling and going down 2 inches. You don't want it to blow over. You want it to stay where it's supposed to be at. So, really need to put a good foundation under it. That's about all I can say. And it's your business. I'm just saying, like, I care, I guess. And I just hate to see people getting these things and not having a good foundation on them. So, that being said, thank you for watching. Thanks for following along. And, yeah, I got nothing else to say. So, peace out.